Okay, so we're going to be talking about Kiato and Kahono, but I just quickly want to say that Guild Boss should be starting very soon. I'm pretty sure on the reset with Kahono and Kiato, you would go into Total War and then you go to Boss Battle and you will be able to see it at some point. I don't know when exactly it is, but they did confirm it, so it is starting. I have a video on it already. I'll probably link it below, but if not, I'll be making more videos on that probably in the next couple days. But now, they have confirmed that Kiato and Kahono will be coming out on the 4th reset. So basically at 4 a.m. in whatever server you're at, which is reset time. In your server, it's going to be popping up. So yeah, pretty much in the morning for most people. And these two units, I mean, if the title isn't enough, you should be skipping. But I will go over their kits, talk about all the information, and kind of make you guys aware on like the few cases you should be summoning. But I do want to start off before going into their kits by saying that the banners will be ending when season 2 ends. So like they're ending essentially in 14 days, 13 hours, and 9 minutes. And that does mean that the season 3 banner will have Kiato and Kahono unfeatured. So if you are planning on something on the season 3 banner, which should be the Clover Academy, Charlotte, Fuego, and Jack, but we'll talk about that more later. It should be them, but because of that fact, right, you might not want to summon because you might just pull them in the unfeatured, so there's not really a point. Now, I know a lot of you guys are dried up from Julius, and I just don't think these units are that great, but let's just talk about what they do, talk about the instances that they're good, what they're good at, and all of that stuff. So we'll start with Kiato. Now, one thing I want to say for the future, I'm on Canada server, which is why I already have Kiato. But one thing I want to say is that, well, two things. First of all, tier lists, I need to start making them after we get the season update because of the fact that when there's a season update, they immediately go into glossary, or like in glossary, you're going to immediately see who's coming out that season. Because the minute season 2 came out, we saw that Julius, Kiato, and Kahono were put into the glossary. So when season 3 pops up, we're going to see what units are in the glossary for that season, what units are going to be coming out at that point. So if you want to check early, you could always go to glossary when a season opens and see what units are there. Okay, so yeah, the tier list obviously sadly enough did not consist of these two because I didn't think they were going to be coming out this season, but it works out fine. So Kiato, he is obviously a pretty unhyped unit. I think that these two units are not the hypest, but I think some people like Kahono. But you guys let me know. Do you guys find the Kiato Kahono to be hyped? Y'all let me know. So he's an attack mage who is going to be doing quite a lot of single target damage, and he revolves a lot around buffs and crits. So we'll start with his passive this time. What it does is every buff will be giving you one enthralling dance stack. Every stack will give you 5% endurance and damage resistance, and then once you get 5 stacks of the enthralling dance, you're going to be getting a soon-to-be idle buff for 2 turns, which then gives you the 30% endurance, 30% damage resistance, and 50% increased damage dealt. So if you're going to be really doing the damage, you really need to like get this buff first. And what's cool is that this max, the enthralling dance, is a max of 25%, but then this gives 30%, which is 5 extra. And one thing that is to note is that you're able to get 1 idle buff and then also continue getting the enthralling dances buff. Now, if you get 5 more enthralling dances while having the idle buff, then you're going to reset the idle turns and put it back to 2 and keep getting the damage buff. Okay, so he's able to get 50% damage from his passive, and honestly, this is the only passive that's this long in this game. We've never had something as long. I think Julius's kinda compares, but not close, right? So yeah, now let's go into his skills. Skill 1, you do extra damage if there's a buff. The damage amount is not that crazy, but with the extra 15%, it's not horrible. I just never find myself feeling it's crazy. Now his skill 2 can do decent damage, but it is not that crazy either. The AoE damage is a bit low, being at what, 62%, with 15% crit rate per buff, which means that essentially if you have a lot of buffs, you are getting that guaranteed crit rate, crit on everyone, which is pretty good, right? That is one thing about him. This can do a lot of damage, but I just wish it was more consistent, because if you don't get the crits, or if the enemies have total defense, then you will not be critting. He is kind of useless without those crits, right? Now his ult is the same thing, where it is going to be a guaranteed crit the minute that you have 2 or more active buffs. And why they give accuracy. So basically how it works is that, sure, you have the guaranteed crit, but you could still be blocked. Being blocked is from the damage resistance stat. So the fact that they're giving accuracy is because accuracy goes through blocks. Okay, that's the reason why if a block procs, it's the accuracy that makes it so that the block does not proc, and therefore reducing your damage, and therefore also making it so you don't crit. So the accuracy is there to make it so that if the block does proc, or if the block would have procced, it's not going to proc because of the increased accuracy, if that makes sense. because accuracy stops the enemies from blocking, but crit obviously is with a whole nother part, right? The Black Clover system is very confusing, and also just the math doesn't work out. We don't have the numbers, so it's very hard to really go in depth into it, which sucks. Now the damage from this is going to be very good, very, very good, very high numbers. Now he has a combined attack. You're never going to really be using this, and what he gets from his passive is 5 up to 10% damage dealt, unless they decide to change it. Actually, I could check right now. I'm pretty sure it is 10% damage dealt, but since I have Kiato, we could do a quick little snoop through and see what it gives. So it's going to be giving attack, magic attack, and HP, and then giving 8% damage dealt and 15% favored damage dealt. And this is honestly a very good dupe 5. If you really want to push him for some reason, you can, but I'm really thinking he's more of a whale unit than a free-to-play unit. So overall, thing is with Kiato, if we really look at him, he's too similar to Julius. Okay, they both have an alt. They both have a single target alt, AoE skill 2, single target skill 1, but Julius offers a lot more. People already summoned on him, right? His damage on here sure is a bit lower, but then you have to consider he's getting what, 50% extra alt damage from the time accumulation, and he gets increased damage dealt for every 15 speed. So that's kind of built into his kit, right? So this is going to do more damage. It also has utility. As much as he does good damage, he also has a lot of other utility, and also this has higher AoE damage. So Julius just in general is better, and if you have Julius, you should not be going for Kiato in my opinion, especially if you have Blue Yami. There's just no point in going for Kiato. I'm just saying he's not bad. I'm not saying he's bad. It's just unfortunate timing. You release Julius, the better unit that everyone summoned for, and you're going to try to go for another blue DPS. Just from a free-to-play or even whale perspective, there's no point to get Kiato. I don't think. I've never had a specific use for him. I think if you need a single target boss unit, then you could use Julius. He works insanely well. But then also Asta just works very well too, so there's just no point for Kiato. Now, Kahono I think is a bit of a different story, so let's talk about it. Now then, she is a healer, right? But it's another blue healer, which is weird. If we look at it, we have one green SSR healer and 2 blue healers, and then the next one we're getting is what, Witch Queen? And she's not really a healer that much until you get her to do 2 at the bare minimum, but still. Anyway, let's go into what she does. Okay, skill 1 is a continuous HP recovery, which this cannot, and this is for 4 turns, which is actually pretty interesting. So you can get an 8% heal for 4 turns, which I actually kind of like. It's decent, and you could use this a lot, so I think it is pretty good. 4 turns, I don't even know if you're going to need it by that point, but hey. Now this skill 2 is an AoE barrier, but it's only 14% of her max HP, right? Which means that it's honestly not really that crazy of a barrier, but what it does add is also level 2 increased defense plus increased HP recovery received. Now the barrier does go up to 28%, but even 20%, you'll see it might be like a 30 to 50k barrier. But there's not really a point when you got barriers like Noel's and Rodess's that exist. Now, if you're going for a type of stacking, then sure, it's decent, but then you also got to consider the increased defense does not really help when you got Charmy. First of all, that gives level 3, and then Rodess that gives level 2. So the units that you would be using her with don't work well with Kahono, which kind of sucks. Now, her ult does give increased all attack and then HP recovery of 40% of her HP. Now, she's usually going to be rocking a fully built Kahono anywhere from 80 to 120 or 130k HP around. So this could be from what? I guess it would be maybe 40 to 50k usually. I mean, no, 30 to 50k heal. Not that crazy, but what it does give is also the all attack. So at least she has good buffs, but that's really all she offers. And overall, the problem with her is that when you look at it for PvP, Charmy is better. Where's Charmy? I'm kind of blind. Charmy's better, okay? She has the continuous HP heals are better than just a one-time heal in general. And especially when it's such a high heal. Now, what Charmy also does is because of her increased defense plus her increased SP, right? Then also she just stacks the continuous heals. And then it's also the fact that she gives heals every time an ally's turn, once an ally uses a skill. So you're getting more heals from Charmy, and for PvP, that is way more useful than her mini barrier, increased defense level 2, where Charmy's is level 3, and then the all attack increase. And sure, all attack increase can be good for PvE, but in general, I'd say you should not be, at this point in the game, there's not really a point to straight out going for Kahono just because you want someone to clear quicker PvE runs for gear, when you could literally just what's it called? You could just dispatch, and if you dispatch, it's the same thing. You just got to be above the CC requirement. Then do passive does reduce her damage taken, but overall, it really ain't all that. She's not bad. She's not bad. She could be used. She has the all attack increase, defense increase, but it's just not enough. Especially when Charmy is just healing more. and also has the increase like a higher defense level, which I think is just better, more sustaining for PvP situations. Now for the skill pages, we've got this one, which is going to be giving when you do you could remove an instance of DOT, and then you get an enthralling dance buff, and then whenever you attack, you have a chance to get a crit damage buff. But even at max dupes, it's a 60% chance. You don't even get a guaranteed crit damage increase, so I don't think it's that good. And the problem is it's removing DOTs, but at this moment DOTs are not in meta, so there's no point to really having it. And by the time DOTs get in meta, he is not in meta, so also, it doesn't really give much. Now, this, what it adds, I'm pretty sure, is they're removing 2 debuffs, which does actually make her quite a lot better. I'm not gonna lie. This makes it much more worth it. But when you're being hit by a crit, there's a chance to grant allies HP heal, which is not going to be in too many cases, but it's not horrible. Now, I gotta say the removing debuffs is not bad. It kind of has like more of a, it's like a Summer Asta type of gimmick, and I personally am all there for it. I really, I think it's decent, right? Hers is decent. I don't like Kiato's, but overall the units are not that crazy, right? That's the thing. And what I'm a bit unsure about, which we're gonna see very soon, is that in the leaks it literally shows that Kahono and Julius are like in the banner together, but here it shows that there's 2 raid ups for them separately, so we'll see how that goes. There's also a paid step up for Kiato, so that too, we'll all see how that goes. But yes, season 3 coming January 18th, so that's very hype. But overall, these units are skipped. We got better counterparts for both of them that are already out, and you should already have, because of the fact that people summoned for Noelle, so they got Charmy, and people summoned for Julius. So yeah, that's kind of like a no-brainer. And also because of what I said, imagine, okay, because of what I said, where Kiato and Kahono are going to be in the unfeatured on season 3 banner onwards, so there's not really a point to summoning on them now. They're not really going to help you with too much, especially if you do have Julius. So I recommend skipping, but still, people are going to summon. I want to know if you guys are summoning, honestly, because I don't see the point. But maybe there is a point that I'm not seeing, and y'all are going to let me know down below. Let's go, rank 27. I feel like I'm ranking up much quicker on here, but whatever, man. I'll go back to gear grinding, because that's 99% of the game still, which very ironic. So yes, thank you guys for watching the video. I will see you guys in the next one, which should be a little summoning video on JP. So I'll see you guys. Peace.